Greetings, church. Welcome to another weekly devotional of Myerstown Baptist Church. We just finished up a series on forgiveness, and I want to invite you to come this Sunday. We're starting a series studying the book of Esther. Esther's a book that's tucked away in the Old Testament. It's a very small book. It's one of two books in the entire Bible that's named after a woman. And as I said, it's a very small book. It only has 10 chapters in it. And it stands as a very unique book in the Bible. Actually, there's no mention of God in the book of Esther. You can read chapter 1 right on through to the end, and you'll find no mention of God. You'll find no mention of worship. You'll find no mention of sacrifice. So that kind of makes Esther a very unique, very unusual book in the Bible, with no mention of God, no mention of worship, no mention of sacrifice. Yet, in Esther, every page bears a testimony of its divine authorship. God is behind the scenes. He's cueing the characters and orchestrating each event. And I think you'll see that as you read through the book of Esther. You'll see God in a very powerful way, working behind the scenes and controlling all the circumstances. Now, in the book of Esther, there's basically 5 main characters, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about each one of the characters. First of all, we have King Ahasuerus. He's the son of King Darius. He was a Persian king, and he ruled his kingdom. His kingdom extended from India all the way through Ethiopia. It was quite a vast kingdom. Actually, it had 127 provinces. He was wealthy, he was impulsive, and in chapter 1, one interesting thing about him, he had a real big party, and that party lasted 180 days. Now just think about that for a minute. That's about a 6-month party. That's half a year. In today's terms, we would call King Ahasuerus a real party animal. Then we have his wife, Queen Vashti. Her name means a beautiful woman. She was strong-willed and independent. King Ahasuerus demanded that she come at the party and dance before those who were there at the party. And she refused his demand. She's a woman of courage, a woman of conviction. Then we have Haman. He was one of the king's officers. He was wealthy, influential, and deceptive. And Haman was also known for his anti-Semitic beliefs. And he was the one that plotted to have the Jewish people destroyed. Then we have Mordecai. He was a godly Jew. He was from the tribe of Benjamin. And he raised Esther as an orphan. Actually, he raised her as his own daughter, and he actually becomes the heroine of the story. Then we have Queen Esther. She was a godly Jewish woman, and she later ascended to become the queen. In a most unusual way, actually through a Persian beauty pageant, she becomes queen. And she's noted for her courage. Her courage is unmatched as she went to face the king. And actually, she's noted in Esther 4 and verse 16, as she goes and faces the king, she says, "So I will go unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish." She actually was willing to put her life on the line for her people. So she shows great conviction here and great courage as she went before the king on behalf of her people. And as you look at Esther, God actually used her to deliver his people. I would like to just share with you a quote from Chuck Swindoll in regards to the book of Esther. He writes, "God's presence is not as intriguing as his absence. His voice is not as eloquent as his silence. Who of us have not longed for a word from God, searched for a glimpse of his power, or yearned for the reassurance of his presence, only to feel that he seems absent from the moment, distant, preoccupied, and yet later we realize how present he was all along. As you read the book of Esther, I think you'll agree with Chuck Swindoll that even though his name is not mentioned, you will see God in the book of Esther in a very, very powerful way. God's power and God's presence are seen in mighty ways. Come join us this Sunday as we start studying this wonderful book of Esther. I hope to see you there. God bless you and have a great day.